Happy Thursday. Welcome on into Let's Bet It. Lauren Jabari here with Jared Smith. Jared, your sign is back up behind you. We're officially settled into Vegas. You got Costco pizza last night for dinner, which 12 out of 10 is a win. And it's almost the freaking weekend, right? How are we?
We're good. That was a very detailed description. I signed up for a Costco executive membership yesterday. I feel like I've gotten my
big
adult
boy
card.
moves.
It was, and you're right. Like I was honestly, the pizza, pretty legit at Cosmo. At Cosmo, it's pretty legit at Cosmo too. At Costco, it's also legit. Very excited to just go there on the weekends and just spend maybe I'll make it over to Bed Bath & Beyond too, Home Depot. Just make the full adult rounds. But how are you doing today? I heard the jam's going this morning when you logged in. Everyone seems like they're in a very chipper mood.
I'm dancing. I got music on every morning in my life. That's how I wake up. I wake up, make coffee, and immediately turn on music. Absolutely love it. So I'm doing well. I'm doing good. Worked the Braves series this weekend. They're taking on the Marlins, so that should be fun. I'm on the show Saturday. Lots going on this weekend, but I'm excited to get into the show today. Before we get started, I want to bring up something that I saw with my Detroit Lions. I know you put it in the Google sheet. Jameson Williams, obviously a rookie for the Lions this year, is wearing number 9 this season. Here's how it ended up. So he was going to wear number 18 in honor of Kelvin Johnson. He wore 81 when he was a Lion, but he decided he wanted a single-digit number. So he texted Matt Stafford, who wore number 9 for 9 seasons, and said, "Is this okay if I wear this number?" And he said, "Yeah." So now he has taken Matt Stafford's old number, and it's going to be his number moving forward with the Detroit Lions. How much money would you have to pay someone to take your number? Mine was number 11 because I was number 1 2 times.
We were both 11. We've talked about this before. I remember when we both discovered why we both liked the number 11. It was a big time bonding moment for us. So we can build on that today. I guess it depends on what your bankroll is. Like for Jameson Williams, he just got a fat rookie deal. But I don't know if you can be grandfathered into that number. And I don't know if Matthew Stafford still has the right, not being on the team anymore, to say you can't wear my number. Like that feels like a team decision because they might want to retire Matthew Stafford's number, which is fair. I don't know if the Lions have plans to do that. Now they clearly won't, but I don't know if it's Stafford's. To me, that's the conundrum here. Stafford's been off the team now. This is his second year. Does he still have the sway to say you can't wear my number from 2 years ago? He's not even on the team anymore.
I think so because he was literally the staple of the Detroit Lions franchise.
I agree, but that's a team decision, right? The Lions should make that decision. We're going to retire Matthew Stafford. Nobody gets to wear it. I don't know. Maybe that's just my...
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, interesting, but Jameson Williams now moving forward is going to be wearing number 9. So that is his number for the Detroit Lions, which brings us right into our Big Ten Heisman talk because Jameson Williams, great season last year until he got injured, but we want to get into the Big Ten Heisman talk. 3 guys from the Big Ten are up there in the rankings right now, and they are all on the same team. We got Ohio State University, the Ohio State University. Oh, that literally hurts my heart to say that. But C.J. Stroud, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Trayvon Henderson, all up there right now, and in my opinion, the best QB, WR, RB trio in the country. All 3 of them have the highest Heisman odds in the Big Ten right now. So let's start it out with C.J. Stroud. Right now, he's a little over 2-1 odds. He finished 4th in voting last year. But if you look at Ohio State's offense this year, they're going to be an absolute monster this season. His numbers last year were comparable to Bryce Young's, who won the Heisman, and he played 3 fewer games. He has a great target now in JSN, who we're going to talk about next. Also, a few other great wide receivers. Wow, words are hard for me this morning. And then there's Trayvon Henderson at running back. They also have a strong O-line, and Ryan Day, who's one of the best play callers in college football. I think this is a really good spot for him to possibly be able to win the Heisman if Ohio State can have good performances against teams like Notre Dame and then the last game of the regular season against Michigan, don't you think?
Absolutely. I think you're you're barking up the wrong tree if you try to bet on someone else not on Ohio State to win the Heisman. I did a little history lesson. Yeah, I think you're just to save your money. So trivia time. Who was the last Big Ten player to win the Heisman Trophy? It's been a while. Troy Smith, 2006. Prior to that, I don't
wouldn't have
count
guessed
Eric
that.
Crouch in 99 because Nebraska was not in the Big Ten at the time. If you want, I don't know how you want to grade that, but I'm not counting Eric Crouch. And then prior to that, your boy Desmond Howard, a couple years prior. So
I was
it's
going to
been
say
a
Desmond
while.
Howard. I was going to say Desmond Howard.
It's been a while. I am a little bit weary on but betting a short number like this at this stage. So based off of what I've seen in prior years, even recently, last year, Bryce Young was not the favorite coming into the season. He was the third favorite. It was actually Spencer Rattler who was favored to win the Heisman when they opened, and then those odds changed very dramatically, very early on.
Yeah,
and then
totally.
prior to that, how about and these numbers? Devontae Smith, Joe Burrow, they were 100-1, 200-1 before the season started to win the Heisman Trophy. So I just don't feel like it's maybe he's the best guy, Bryce Young, but I don't feel CJ Stroud. I don't feel like I want to bet that number here because of just where the odds are going to move, and they're not going to move that much in your favor over the next 4 months. How can they? Because he's already so short.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I also think one thing that could hold him back is he isn't really the biggest running threat at this point, right? There could be better quarterbacks with better passer numbers and with better running numbers. And he's losing Wilson and Olave. I know that he has other great wide receivers on the team, but that's going to be a tough adjustment. And he usually starts out slow at the beginning of the season. We saw that game last year against who was it, Maryland, that everyone was kind of like, is
Oregon.
he the right guy for this?
Well, they lost.
Oregon, thank you.
Didn't they lose to Oregon? I forget.
For this job? Everyone was freaking out after game 1 of the season last year. So it's
I think that might have been 2 years ago they lost to Oregon.
Yeah, I think it was last year. It was game 1 of the season. Everyone's like, ooh, I don't remember who it was against, but everyone was like, is he the right guy?
It's an interesting point. I mean, I don't really care about what happened last year. Like, honestly, like I think it's obviously a talking point, but I don't think it factors into this year's vibe.
It was last year against Oregon.
It was. So I was right. That was the game that they got beat pretty bad in that game. Got beat pretty bad in that game. I think that was his lowest. Yeah, they only scored 28 points. Let me just do a quick glance. That was the fewest points they scored 26
what
against
everyone was
Nebraska.
talking about is he the right guy for the job? That's what everyone was talking about after that. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does during the beginning of the season this year after losing 2 of his favorite targets from last year and just kind of adjusting to some new players stepping up into those roles. But that wasn't an issue for them in the Rose Bowl because you look at a guy like Jackson Smith-Njigba, 25-1 odds right now to win the Heisman Trophy. Olave, Wilson skipped the Rose Bowl to prep for the NFL draft. Meanwhile, JSN had an unreal Rose Bowl performance and produced the best statistical line of any receiver in the Rose Bowl dating back to 1902. 15 catches, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns. For me, though, one of the things that holds me back from betting this is I know receivers have won over quarterbacks before. Devontae Smith over Mac Jones in 2020. But at the same time, he's still a wide receiver, and Devontae Smith was the only true wideout since 1991 to win the Heisman. So that could be a factor against him. And usually when it's a quarterback wide receiver duo on the same team, people tend to lean towards the quarterback here, which is why Stroud is I'm a little bit more high on Stroud than I am on JSN, but I want to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, to me, the number here is key. And again, with these Heisman odds preseason, the number is vital because, for example, when I was looking at Joe Burrow's numbers a couple years ago, I mean, it was like after 2 weeks, it went from like 150-1 to like 20-1, like that. So to me, that's the advantage to betting JSN. I got 60-1. You can still bet 60-1 if you have access to the Westgate. You're in Arizona, you're in New Jersey, you're here in Nevada. You can bet 60-1 on Jackson Smith-Njigba. I have a half a unit on it. And again, I agree with the quarterback obviously is going to get the first look. And I think if you compare Mac Jones to CJ Stroud, there are some similarities there in terms of, you're right, not a big running threat. And the numbers for JSN are going, because they also have Marvin Harrison Jr. on the other side. Like, there is another guy that can take a lot of the pressure off Njigba on a week-to-week basis. And just like Devontae Smith had Jameson Williams. So I think, and a bunch of other guys, Jalen Waddle, I mean, take your pick with Alabama that year. But I think there's just a lot of upside with this number. And you see it. It's 25-1 at some other shops. If you get 60-1 and they start hot, it'll be 20, 30-1 within a couple weeks. Whereas CJ Stroud, that number has nowhere to go. It's 2-1. It's not going to get any shorter between now and, let's say, midseason, when you get a lot more sample size and you actually get to see what happens and you can maybe make a more educated, informed decision. So I think if you're going to make a preseason bet, I would absolutely rather do it on a guy where the number can get really short, really fast, and it's 60-1 on Njigba. I think it's a good bet to make right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ohio State needs to find a way to replace the 200 or 2,000 plus receiving yards that Wilson and Olave had last year. And obviously he's going to be one of those big targets for CJ Stroud. So it's going to be interesting seeing him moving forward. Let's move on to the run game, because we have Travion Henderson at 35-1 right now. He was the top running back in last year's recruiting class. He had some wild numbers: 1,560 scrimmage yards, 19 touchdowns, 15 rushing touchdowns, only on 210 touches. Think about what a guy like this can do, getting a workload of like J.K. Dobbins had, right? The thing that stands in his way are obviously Stroud and Smith-Njigba, who were ahead of him in the odds. So, I mean, are you going to bet on a guy like this to win when you have two other guys on your team with shorter odds to be able to win this thing?
No. So only two running backs have won this award, technically, since the turn of the century, because they vacated Reggie Bush. But technically, two. They're both Alabama, Ingram and Henry. So, I find it hard.
Who are they? I've never heard of them.
Yeah, right. And I don't recall who the quarterbacks were on that 2009 and 2015 Alabama teams. But if I remember general history about Alabama's run, they've never had great quarterbacks until very recently. They've always been kind of, game manager type, quarterbacks, John David Booty, like those types of guy. Actually, he might have been on LSU, but you get the point. Like, I don't remember who the 2015 quarterback was. I'm actually curious now, but I know he wasn't a guy that was also a Heisman candidate like CJ Stroud, who was the favorite for the Heisman. So I just think the ball is going to be in CJ Stroud's hands a lot. And it's hard to bet on Henderson because, again, that number, if you're telling me the number is the same between the running back and the wide receiver on Ohio State, and they've got CJ Stroud as the quarterback who's going to throw it a gajillion times this year, why would you bet on the running back? Like, to me, that makes no sense from a logic standpoint.
Yeah, Ohio State is a super pass-heavy attack. I was looking at some of
Jake Coker. Thank you, Justin. Jake Coker was the quarterback on the 2015 Alabama team where Derrick Henry won. Like, again, Henry was getting the ball a million times because Jake Coker was the quarterback. That is not the case with Ohio State this year.
Yeah, exactly. And, yeah, that's what I was saying. Ohio State's a super pass-heavy attack. I was looking at some of his numbers last season. 20+ % of his rush yards were against Tulsa in game 3 of the season. He only had 2 other games with 100-yard rushing games. Only 2 other games with 100-yard rushing. So they are a pass-heavy attack. Wow. CJ Stroud's going to look to throw because he ain't running the ball very often. That's just not his game, right? So I think someone like Jackson Smith-Njigba are a little bit better to bet on than Travion Henderson, but not to take away from Henderson in his game because he is still phenomenal in what he does. So it's going to be interesting moving forward to see how this Big Ten Heisman situation plays out and how good Ohio State's going to be. They have a big test, game 1 of the season against Notre Dame at the Horseshoe. My whole family is going to that game. So I'm really excited to see.
You're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
You're going to be disappointed with the result there.
Okay, let's move on to NFL preseason because it is officially upon us. I know we had a game a couple weeks ago, but we have 2 preseason games tonight. The Giants taking on the Pats, Titans taking on the Ravens. We have a bunch of games tomorrow, a bunch of games Saturday. I don't bet NFL preseason because you literally have to be so locked in, watch every single press conference like you were saying. But for you, tips and advice for betting NFL preseason, how would you lean?
So Justin's begging us to go to baseball, I think, because Ian's here. So let's call.
Oh, should we do baseball?
Timeout.
Let's do it. He said NFL. Now we're going to MLB. So let's walk this way.
If you're interested in betting the NFL preseason, I have very sage advice for you directly from professional gamblers themselves that we will tease for after we do baseball. Call that a tease in the business.
Keeps them. It's a little cliffhanger for them. For them. Let's bring in Iain MacMillan, senior editor for BetSided, to talk MLB action. Ian, how are you? Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Hello, Lauren. Hello, Jared. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks
for coming on. Okay, so every time we do a Major League Baseball segment, we have to start with, is the trend your friend? This is a game that I made up where I give you a baseball trend, and you have about 15 to 30 seconds to just tell me if you'd friend the trends, if you'd fade the trend, or if you just pass completely on the trend. So I'm going to do this for you. I have 4 of them today. Number 1, hopefully we add some new friends to our repertoire and leave with a big group of us. White Sox, 5-0 in their last 5 games following a loss. Would you friend this trend?
I would do nothing with that trend, to be completely honest. I don't know. Do teams get more motivated after a loss? Is that kind of how? I'm not too sure. I see that trend around. I see that in a couple different sports as well. I don't know. I would do nothing with that trend, to be honest.
We're passing on the trend. Jared, what do you think?
Cease Greinke today. I don't know. That's a tough one, too. Cease's numbers are decent against the Royals, but everyone's numbers are decent against the Royals. Greinke's numbers are actually pretty good against the White Sox, too. I'll be honest. Tony La Russa falling asleep in the dugout makes me very sour on the White Sox, the chances of being motivated at all this year. So I will fade that trend. Sorry, LJ.
Fade the trend. Okay, we have a pass and a fade. How about this one? Reds, Cubs. Nerfy, no runs first inning. Cubs 6-0 to the Nerfy in their last 6 against the National League.
Ooh.
I'll back that trend. The Cubs, I think, in general this year, in terms of first inning runs per game, rate pretty high in Major League Baseball. Yeah. So just based on that alone, I'll friend this trend.
Oh, we got a friend, yeah. Jared. Are you friending?
Ian is correct. They do have one of the higher scoring rates this year, almost 35%. Here's the thing. This game is in Iowa. It's
the Field of Dreams, baby.
At the field. And now, if I recall from last year, the game between the White Sox and the Yankees was bananas. Like, it was wild. Wasn't it like a walk-off by Tim Anderson after, like, the Yankees took the lead? Yeah. I don't remember the actual details, but I remember it was insane. And it was a hitter's park. Justin's a little bit upset about that one. Dude, Justin, you can't react to every single result of the Yankees. They play 162 games. Get over it, bro. No, I'm not friending this one. I think this is a Yurfie game.
Wow.
This is the Iowa vibes give me. I just drove through Iowa, by the way. Yurfie and Iowa today.
It's nothing.
Sorry, LJ.
There. It's like potatoes. That's it, right? Iowa has potatoes. Or is that corn? No, Nebraska.
No, that's
corn.
I think you're thinking of Idaho. Iowa's corn.
Oh. Iowa's corn? Ian, did you know this?
Yes. Idaho potatoes.
I did not know that. I'm Canadian, so I don't know what the states stand for. I know Idaho. I know Idaho's potatoes.
What do they grow in Canada?
Just like PEI, Prince Edward Island in Canada is also known for potatoes, so they have that in common with Idaho. So shout out PEI.
Oh, nice. Prince Edward Island, I love it. That's great. Is that where you're from?
I'm from Nova Scotia, right next to Prince Edward Island, right on the east.
Nice. Nova Scotia. So I actually worked for the Avs for 3 years. And Nathan McKinnon is from Nova Scotia.
That's right. He's from Halifax.
Really?
Shout out. That's actually the Nova Scotia flag right behind me. So shout out Nova Scotia. How about that?
Yeah,
Look at
yeah.
that. We
Give
get a
a
Nova
little love
Scotia
up there
reference
to the
on the
north.
show.
Nova Scotia, baby. Let's go.
What a day.
Speaking of not north, Phillies Marlins under. The under is 8-0 in the Marlins' last 8 games. Ian, are we friending this trend or are we fading it?
Yeah, I'll friend that trend. Oh, I didn't know it was 8 in a row. That's pretty insane. I mean, the Marlins are truly one of the worst offensive teams in Major League Baseball right now. Edward Cabrera starts for the Marlins today. He has a pretty good ERA, 2.61. So there's no better team to bet on the under than the Marlins. So yeah, I'll friend that trend.
Jared, are we having a friend today?
I think I am. Ian's spot on. Marlins are averaging under 4 runs per game. Yeah. And Philly is on like a ridiculous. Didn't Philly won like 10 games in a row or something? That's the trend we should have talked about today. How many games in a row have the Phillies won? It's like ridiculous. Kyle Gibson on the other side today. Gibson's numbers have been pretty good against the Marlins. And you're right, Cabrera. I like Cabrera's stuff. He's a guy that's popping off to me, and he's never faced the Phillies I think this is his rookie year. So this is a fresh look. And Gibson's numbers decent against the Marlins. So yeah, let's go. Under 9 straight in the Marlins' last 9 games.
We got a friend, baby. Let's have a party. Last but not least, Ian, Rockies, Cardinals, Yurfie. Yes runs first inning. The Yurfie 5-0 in the Rockies' last 5 games as underdogs.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I don't really have any stats to back that one up. It's in Colorado. That's always going to help for the Yurfie being at Coors Field. Other than that, sure. Why not? Let's root for some runs in the first inning. I'll friend it.
Hits and runs, baby. Jared, how do you feel?
Yurfie's been hot at Coors lately. My hypothesis that the no-run first inning will be profitable at Coors this year because of the odds is looking bleaker by the day. 35-24, if you want the official numbers. That's what the Yurfie is at Coors this year, about 60%. You're laying a pretty penny for it. It's like minus 170, but yeah, I guess that's the vibe over the last week. The Cardinals have been a pissed off bunch at the plate after getting blown out in game 1. They went nuts yesterday. So I would say it's tough for me to fade that today. So yeah, I'll friend this one.
Love it. We have a couple friends now heading into Yurfie Nerfie. Yes runs first inning, no runs first inning. Jared's been tracking. No runs first inning went 10-4 yesterday. Now hitting at a 52.9% rate in August and up over 28 units since July 1st. If you just bet all Nerfies for every game since July 1st, you're up 28 units. So you love to see that. Ian, I want to get into some of your picks. You like the Orioles money line at plus money. Let's go through your slate and what you got for tonight.
Yeah, I think it's time for us to believe in this Orioles team, to be honest. We need to start betting on them. They've been fantastic as underdogs, and they face right-handed starter Josh Winkowski tonight, and the Orioles actually rank 8th in Major League Baseball in OPS against right-handed pitchers dating back to July 1st. I mean, that's better than teams like the Phillies that we just talked about are hot, 9-1 in their last 10 games. The Padres, the Astros, like this team is hitting right-handed pitchers. Winkowski actually already faced the Orioles back in his season debut, allowed 4 hits, 3 walks, and 4 earned runs in just 3 innings. So he's already been lit up by this Orioles team. And let's not forget, dating back to July 1st, the Orioles actually ranked 5th in bullpen ERA. The Red Sox dead last. So I'm kind of surprised that they're underdogs tonight, to be honest. I'll gladly back them at that price.
I love it. I absolutely love it. What about Reds? The Reds first 5 money line, because I'm betting on the Reds, but I'm betting a pitcher prop for this instead.
Yeah, Nick Lodolo gets a start for the Reds tonight. I am going to back the Reds. I'm going to stick to the first 5 innings, though, mainly because the Cubs, we were just talking about how good the Orioles bullpen has been. The Cubs, since July 1st, they're the best bullpen ERA in Major League Baseball in the past little over a month. It's insane. So I will, if I'm betting against the Cubs, I'm going to stick to first 5 innings. And I'm also going to fade them when they face left-handed pitchers like Nick Lodolo is, because their OPS drops from 687 against right-handed pitchers since the start of July down to 594 against lefties. So I will back the Reds in the first 5 innings. I'm going to try to avoid that Cubs bullpen. And because if I bet full game with the way these two bullpens are, I could see it being a heartbreaker and the Cubs making a comeback. So Reds first 5 innings.
Yeah, speaking of Lodolo, I want to get your thoughts on him having over 6.5 strikeouts, because I bet that it is a little juicy. I'm laying 52 cents for it. And I know it's a little bit of a reach, but I'm here for it. This guy, Ian, is so talented, and I love these big strikeout pitchers, right? I know he does have kind of high walk numbers, but he punched out 8+ hitters 3 times this season and 7 2 other times. And the Cubs are extremely strikeout prone. Looking at their numbers, they're averaging 8.82 strikeouts per game this season. Last 3 games averaging 7 strikeouts. They really struggle against the curve, and that is Lodolo's bread and butter, his specialty. And he has 46 strikeouts in his last 34 innings pitched. I like that ratio. Is the juice worth the squeeze here, Ian? Because I'm leaning Nick Lodolo over 6.5, laying 52 cents for it. Pitching in the Field of Dreams game. Could it get any better?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, it could be better, maybe a little bit of a better matchup for the Field of Dreams, to be honest, in terms of how good these two teams are. But over 6.5 strikeouts for Nick Lodolo, I like it. Like I said, Cubs have been struggling against lefties since the start of July, the 4th highest strikeout rate against lefties at 27.7%. So I like that pick quite a bit.
Yes, let's go. Let's go. You also have a strikeout prop of your own with JT Brubaker.
Yeah, going up against the Diamondbacks, I'm actually going to take the under on his, under 5.5. It is a little chalky, -165, but I still think there's some value there because the Diamondbacks might not have a good record, but in terms of strikeouts, they're actually pretty good. Dating back to July 1st, they're actually tied with the Cleveland Guardians for the lowest strikeout rate in Major League Baseball at 18.6%. Brubaker has failed to cover this number in 2 of his last 3 starts, and he's already had a start against the Diamondbacks earlier this year, and he only managed 3 strikeouts. So I'll take the under 5.5 for JT Brubaker.
I like it.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Ian, we're so appreciative for you coming on the show, giving us your picks, playing our little game with us. Trend is the Trend your friend. We so appreciate your time, and go Nova Scotia. Love it.
Go Nova Scotia. Thank you so much for having me on.
Nova Scotia, Ian. Baby. Ian MacMillan. Love having him on.
I like the Orioles.
Absolutely.
I want to follow up on his Orioles handicap. So as an underdog this season, the Orioles are up almost 17 units on the money line. They are up 27 units on the run line. We did an article about the run line, money line splits a couple weeks ago, last week. I don't even remember what time. I mean, it's been such a long week. But that is that's a team that has been unbelievably profitable this year. And I have left a shit ton of money on the table not betting one Orioles game all season on the money line or run line. So I don't see why I can't continue down the stretch.
Why not? Orioles, baby. As we walk this way until you walk this way.
Love it. So last night was
better
weird.
Or worse? I don't know.
No, listen, it's the morning time. It's the morning time. I understand that, the pipes aren't fully cleaned yet.
Gotta warm up the pipes as the day goes on, okay?
Warm those babies up. You warm them up. I'll try to stay hot. So last night, quick recap. Jose Barrios, rain out. Void. Chris Bubic, win. Yay. 2 walks, I think, in the first 2 innings. And sadly, Nestor Cortez, who walked someone in the 2nd inning, I was like, we're going to get home here. He had multiple opportunities. He pitched into the 7th, couldn't quite get across the finish line. So we fall painfully short on the walk this way parlay yesterday, but we're going to try to get back in the saddle today. Now, I'll admit, these 3 are all relatively juicy, but as I said, I don't care if minus or a plus sign next to the bet. All I care about, am I getting better odds than the actual probability of the bet hitting? And in all 3 of these, I think I am. So let's start. Framber Valdez. Framber is the color of our energy. Over 1.5, laying 55 cents. He is at home today against the Rangers. 71% hit rate on the season. 69% if you include last season. That's a sample size of nearly 50 starts. 33 out of 48 have gone over for Valdez in his last 2 seasons. That equates to -220 odds. And we are, again, laying just 55 cents. You see that gap that I consider value. The Rangers also pretty good against lefties. 8th highest walk rate against lefties over the last 30 days at over 9%. Dakota Hudson over 1.5, laying 25 cents. This is the Coors Field matinee game. Get it in early. Hudson has it's crazy, a 75% hit rate on the bet this season over 1.5. That's minus 300 odds. And we're only laying minus 125. So again, I feel like we see this big edge, that cushion there between what his actual hit rate is and what the odds of the bet is. To me, that's where I see value. And his home road splits are ridiculous, walking nearly twice as many per 9 on the road, 5.07, as he is at home, 2.93. So on the road at Coors Field, Dakota Hudson over 1.5 against the Rockies, who are about an average walk rate team this year. Finally, we heard from Ian about JT Brubaker's under K prop. I hope he gets knocked out in the first inning because I have his under 2.5 walks prop at Arizona today. This is a biggie, laying $2.10, minus 210. But he has a 76% hit rate this season, and 76% if you include last season. 34 out of 45. That equates to minus 309 odds. So again, the bet's minus 210, but the implied probability here based on his hit rate in a relatively big sample size is telling you this bet should be priced right at around minus 300. Meanwhile, 19 of the last 25 right-handed starters have stayed under 2.5. This is an under 2.5 against the D-backs. So we'll go JT Brubaker under 2.5, Dakota Hudson over 1.5, Framber Valdez over 1.5. Plus 337. Not quite as juicy as usual, but we'll see how we do tonight. The Walk This Way parlay, trying to get back on track.
I still like it. It's still about 3.5 to 1 odds. So why the heck not, Jared? We're walking this way.
Let's do it, baby.
Into NFL preseason, which I know we had one preseason game a couple weeks ago. Now officially preseason is upon us. 2 games tonight, bunch of games Friday, bunch of games Saturday. Giants Pats today, Titans Ravens today. I know I teased this a little bit heading into Ian before MLB. It's really hard to bet preseason just because you don't know exactly who's going to be playing at all times, and unless you watch all of these basically pressers at this point early. I mean, a couple of the last preseason games right before the regular season, they're kind of starting to see the team come together, more normal playing time for these players that you're going to see. But right now, it's just a bunch of rookies and not as experienced veterans playing in these kind of games. Jared, how do you go about betting preseason? Tips and advice for our Pickswise Nation.
Yes, big topic that is very relevant right now. So a couple things to get to first. First of all, Caleb Wilfinger is betting the preseason. He's one of our Pickswise editors. He has 3 picks on the site currently. 2 of them are for tonight, the Ravens and the Patriots.
Go see it, Pickswise.com.
So keep an eye on that. Go to Pickswise.com, read about that. You are correct. Betting the preseason, frankly, like there are people out there that say that you can't find an edge in the preseason. That's wrong. You can find an edge betting anything. You can find an edge betting the hot dog eating competition. If the market exists, likely there is an edge to be found.
Which I did bet, by the way. I love Nathan.
It's just like anything else. It's like soybeans in, the finance world. Like there is a market for everything. And if there's a market, that means that there's buying and selling. That means that there's a chance for you to find value. It doesn't matter what the market is. In this particular case, this is a more, I don't want to say difficult market, but I think it's more nuanced because you need to be on top of every single press conference that which starter is going to play, how many snaps are they going to play. For example, we heard Mike Reese does the Patriots for ESPN. No Patriot starters are playing tonight. Well, that's helpful. What about the second string? It is more difficult to handicap the preseason because there's more moving parts, but that means there's an opportunity if you're willing to do the work, because if it's more difficult for us, it's more difficult for the sports books as well. And that is an important thing to keep in mind. All of the pros that I've talked to about this, they're mixed. Some of them view the preseason as a time to get right for the regular season. They want to, make their bankroll. They want to, get their system set, their line of thinking, how they view these teams. Other pros view it as an opportunity to make money because they are on top of the press conferences. They stay connected, et cetera, et cetera. It is a personal choice. Me personally, I don't bet the preseason very often. I might put a little on the Ravens tonight because they've won like 1 million straight preseason games, but I don't like to use it as like my complete picture of here's my record for the NFL season. I use it as my own personal preseason training camp. getting my thought processes about these teams and trying to get my head right and my bankroll organized. What markets am I going to attack? What teams do I think there might be an edge? I use it as practice for myself. But that doesn't mean that there isn't an edge out there. If you're willing to do the work, there is an opportunity to bet the preseason and make money. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah, absolutely. You just got to be locked and loaded or follow people that are locked and loaded when it comes to preseason betting. That's why you got to go to Pickswise.com. Make sure to check out the preseason bets that we have going on for NFL. Speaking of Pickswise.com, what other 3-star plays do we have today, Jared?
Good question. Let's hit a refresh. I was on Caleb's NFL preseason page because I wanted to see what he had tonight. Oh, our boy Mike Zinno checking in tonight. Zinno loves the Zach Greinke nerfies. He's betting the White Sox Royals nerfie. Good luck. Wise guy also, Matt Weisenfeld's got he's betting a total in that Cubs-Reds game in Iowa. It's going to be a sweat fest. So those are the two 3-stars on the side today. Zinno's got a nerfie, and Wise Guy's got a total in Cubs-Reds. Godspeed.
Pickswise.com 3-star play of the day. You also have a nerfie going into tonight. The nerfie not great yesterday, but that's okay because we are rebounding, and this time it's going to be better.
Our nerfie did hit yesterday. Lord.
It did.
My nerfie hit yesterday. Your play of the day did not. I apologize for Sandy. He didn't have his best strikeout game, but that's okay because I picked up the slack.
You know what?
Dodgers nerfie hit.
Okay.
It's all good. Dean Kramer, Josh Winkowski, your pitching matchup in this game.
I'm having a day.
You're good. LJ, you're good, girl. You're good. Take a deep breath. All is well. All is well in the universe. You're going to jam out to some music after the show, and you're going to drink your coffee.
You know me.
Breakfast.
You know me.
Breakfast is on the house, baby. The house music.
I got overnight oats sitting in the fridge right now, by the way. So I'm excited to get into those after this. Oh yeah.
What the hell are overnight oats? I don't even want to know what the hell are those. All right.
Google it,
Orioles.
Jared, they're good.
I'll look into it. Orioles. I'm still eating my Costco pizza from last night. Orioles, Red Sox, nerfie. So I was perusing the websites this morning. FanDuel offers plus 114, but our friends here at the Westgate in town in Vegas, plus 115. I'll take that extra penny. Thank you very much. All right, here we go. Dean Kramer, Josh Winkowski combined 18-3 to the nerfie this season. That's pretty good. So we have an implied nerfie rate. If you take Kramer's numbers from 2019, Winkowski's a rookie, so we only have numbers from this season. But if you take that full picture from 2019 with both guys, you have an implied nerfie rate of just over 80%, which is great because what are the odds telling us here? Well, about 45, 46% on plus 115. So I feel very good about the value gap I'm seeing here between what the implied nerfie rate is just on the pitchers. We're looking at the pitchers here and what the bet is telling us. Now let's look at the lineups. Let's complete the picture. It's a two-part process here. I think the lineups make this bet more valuable. Why? Well, the Red Sox stink at home. 21% scoring rate at home this year in the first inning. They are just not a good scoring team at home early in games. That has not been their vibe this season. Baltimore's even worse on the road at 19%. Now, that being said, the Orioles have scored in 3 of their last 4 games, but rain out yesterday. What does that mean? They got rained out, travel day. Now they're up at Fenway. Maybe their lineups cooled off just a hair because, again, over the last 4 games, they've scored 3 times in the first inning. The Red Sox are an absolute fade in the first inning. They've been scoreless in 5 straight, and 15 of the last 16 first innings, they have failed to score a run. So I'll take the plus money here. I think it's a valuable bet. Kramer, Winkowski, Orioles, Red Sox, nerfie, plus 115. Going for 2 straight plays of the day.
Let's go. Sandy Alcantara did not do it for me last night. Dylan Cease hopefully will do it for me today. Over 7.5 strikeouts at plus 108. I love getting plus money on this because he's going up against a team like the Royals, who have the 8th highest strikeout rate against righties over the last couple of weeks. They also have a WRC plus below 100. And also, they have a 5.5% walk rate. So you look at some of these numbers, Dylan Cease is probably going to go deeper into this game, and he's gone up against the Royals twice already this season. He punched out 9 batters in each of those 2 games. He's hit this number in 4 of his last 6 starts, and he has 45 strikeouts in his last 41 and 2/3 innings pitched. With these numbers, with the WRC plus that the Royals have, and with their strikeout numbers that they've been having, I feel pretty confident in Dylan Cease getting at least 8 strikeouts, and at plus money, sign me up, baby. All he has to do, third time's the charm, punch out another 9, just like he did in the last 2 starts that he's had against the Royals, and we'll be making some money. Let's go, baby. That's it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to Pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Jared Smith, Lauren Jabara. Best of luck tonight, you guys. Enjoy NFL preseason. Enjoy Major League Baseball. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, let's get it. Let's bet it.